Welcome. You are listening to Humans of Mitti Ke Rang, and today we are in conversation with Miss Shomy Chowdhary from Bangladesh. Miss Chowdhary is a water, sanitation, and hygiene activist and is also the founding co chair of an organization called Awareness 360. She is also the recipient of President's Volunteer Service Award Gold and has received it from former President Mr. Barack Obama. Tune in to know more about her life and experiences so far. Great. For everybody who's joining us, let me quickly introduce our guest for today. Her name is Shomy Chowdhary and she is from Bangladesh. She is the founding co-chair of Awareness 360, the page that she has joined us from. She is a water, hygiene, and sanitation activist, and she's also the recipient of a very honorable award, which she will tell us more about later. So, Shomy, shall we begin with the question?
Yes, please. Very excited for this.
Great. So, you are a WASH activist. It's an acronym which you can tell us about. So please tell us more about WASH and how you got associated with it.
Sure. So WASH is an acronym that stands for Water, Sanitation and Hygiene. A lot of us may find it very basic, but unfortunately 2.3 billion people globally don't have access to proper WASH facilities. So this public health issue has actually been focused on one of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, the SDG 6, which is clean water and sanitation, which is ensuring the availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation. And in fact, SDG 6 is also very much linked with other SDGs. So for example, SDG 5, right, gender equality. We can't achieve gender equality if women and girls are disproportionately spending hours in fetching clean water. Because they could spend that time for education, going to school, or doing, just resting or doing economic activities. So girls drop out of schools when they hit their period because they don't have access to, they don't have the provision of proper menstrual hygiene management facilities, right? There's also a taboo around this issue. So this is why WASH is a very critical sector where we need more investment. And regarding my involvement with WASH, I'm working as a WASH advocate in raising awareness in the grassroots level, as well as taking my experience to high-level meetings where I get to meet world leaders and I convince them through my story, my experience, to prioritize the WASH sector.
Right. And you are also the founding co-chair of Awareness 360. So please tell us more about Awareness 360 and how you got associated with it.
Sure. So Awareness 360 is an organization that I and my friend Rijvi Arifin, we both co-founded back in 2014. So basically, we wanted to offer a platform for young people who want to do something for their community, but they don't know how. They might need a little guidance or just a little push, So we wanted to ensure that, okay, we get those people on board, we train them. From very basic things like how to write a project proposal, for example, how to apply for grants, how to do fundraising, this sort of thing. So we build their capacity, we train them, and then we empower them to do the community service projects in line with the UN SDGs. So it's open for them that they can choose which SDG they want to work on, and then using those skills that they got trained on, they utilize them to do community service projects. One of our focus areas, especially in Bangladesh, is WASH. Which is SDG 6, as I mentioned. So we reach out to vulnerable communities. For example, we work with sex workers, sewerage workers. We work with school children, persons with disabilities, then garments workers, pavement dwellers, slum dwellers. So we work with these people. We reach out to them, and we call it a WASH talk. So basically, in a typical WASH talk, we tell them about the importance of drinking clean water, how they can filtrate easily water at home. About menstrual hygiene management. Recently, we started teaching, we do this pad shop. So we teach them how to they can sew their own pads at home. Then things like how to wash hands properly. These are something which is very relevant now because of the pandemic, right? So this is what we have been doing. We have been telling people why it's important to wash hands, the proper steps of washing hands, because it's not just COVID, but things like washing hands might sound very like basic and very insignificant, but actually it can play a huge role in saving our lives, literally. And it's not just like COVID, but also from other diseases like the infectious diseases, other infectious diseases, flu, then neglected tropical diseases, etc. So this is pretty much what we have been focusing on.
That's amazing, and especially about you training people to write grants and all of that. That's something so different. It's for the first time I'm hearing something like that, and I just realized how important it is to teach people that. So yeah, that's great work that you all are doing. You've also volunteered with several other organizations, a really long list. So please tell us more about that.
Yes, I'm very thankful for having the opportunity to work with many local and international organizations. For example, I'm part of this amazing organization called the Global Change Makers. I'm one of their fellows. So their mission is to support young people through skills development, grants, mentoring, and capacity building. So I'm working with them in various capacities. Also, I work as a WASH advocate for Global Citizen, through which I went to New York Central Park to speak, addressing a crowd of over 70,000 people. I spoke about my work, what I've been doing through Awareness 360. I got to meet different heads of states, then ministers, celebrities, philanthropists, and activists, and I shared my work with them. And we got to do many projects together, like collaborative work. So I've gotten some interesting experiences in my volunteering journey.
That's amazing. And yes, through your experiences, you've met several people at higher posts and again, celebrities. So what was that experience like? Hello? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. Sorry, something happened. Yes. Sorry, could you repeat the question? You were cut, yeah.
Sure. So I was saying you've had the opportunity to interact with and meet some people on higher posts and VIPs and celebrities. So what was that experience like?
Well, that was an amazing experience because, when people of that stage, appreciate you, and it kind of gives you confidence, it boosts your confidence, and also it gives the confidence not just to me but my entire team, and it's sort of a solace that okay, we are doing things right, and it also adds credibility to your profile as well. So in terms of reaching out to people, networking, in this kind of activities, those experiences actually play a major role. So yeah, it was quite nice.
Lovely. And you have been recognized with several awards for your work, and one being the President's Volunteer Service Award that you received from prior President Barack Obama, if I'm not wrong, and the Diana Legacy Award. So what was the reason that you won the award, and what was that entire experience like?
I'm very blessed and thankful for having those recognitions, obviously. So basically, I did my senior year of high school in the US, in Michigan, under a US State Department program called the YES program, Youth Exchange and Study. So while I was there, we were all placed under different placement organizations. So under my placement organization placed a rule on us that we have to do 40 hours of community service as a way to show our gratitude to our host community for hosting all these students from different countries. So when I started, that's pretty much when I got exposure to this community service world. Like I have been doing stuff, but not to this extent. So when I started doing community service, I found the true joy in it. So I loved it so much that I kept doing it. And at the end of the year, I completed, so I was supposed to do 40 hours, but I ended up doing 460 hours, so which was a record, for which I received the President's Volunteer Service Award. And when I came back home, and I felt like, obviously that award, boosted my confidence and everything. So I felt like, okay, I came to America, I served for my community, to thank them. But what about my own country where I truly belong? So when I came back home, I got myself involved with different organizations, for example, the YES Alumni Bangladesh Association and many other local organizations. I started working with them. And then when I kind of shifted my focus to wash and I continued working, I established Awareness 360 with my friend Rijvi, and then we kept working. So far our work has benefited about 70,000 people, over 70,000 people, for which I got recognized by the Diana Legacy Award last year. So it was also quite a nice experience.
That is so amazing. Congratulations for your achievements and the efforts that you're putting in. This is amazing to hear.
Thank you.
Do you have an inspiration or someone that you look up to when it comes to your work?
Yes, there are many people that I look up to, especially those people who work in this sector. For example, Mr. Sim, who is the founder of World Toilet Organization, he's one of them. Bill Gates, he does a lot of work in this sector. But for me, the thing that works the best as an inspiration. So whenever, we do this sort of projects, it comes with a lot of hassle, a lot of obstacles. And sometimes I don't mind admitting, but I do feel like giving up sometimes. It becomes very challenging. But then I remember the core reason why I shifted my focus to wash. So which is my personal story, which is I lost my mother to diarrhea. And she had diarrhea for just a day. And when I lost her that suddenly, I couldn't really take it. I couldn't accept the fact that I lost her from diarrhea in 21st century. So when I looked it up, I found out that it's not just my mother, but there are so many people, thousands of people who are dying in my country from diarrhea alone. And then I found out it's not just within Bangladesh, but it's a global crisis. And when I dug deep in it, and I found out that the root cause is water, sanitation, and hygiene. So that's when I focused into this wash sector. So the main reason why I stepped up to raise awareness about this issue is because I didn't want anybody else to go through what I went through and I still go through. So that's what I remind myself of, that okay, why did I start? So that kind of acts as a push for me to keep going.
Wow. And do you have a vision for yourself and the coming future for Awareness 360?
Yes, of course. So for Awareness 360, we do want to expand. We have a big family. We are currently operating in 23 countries. So we have a global family, but we do want to expand our work. At the same time, so right now our members are very much, they have the liberty to choose which SDG they want to work on. But in future, especially for this year, we had a lot of plans which unfortunately got postponed due to COVID. But post-COVID, we want to implement those plans of, for example, creating separate SDG teams. So those people who want to work on quality education, we are going to train them solely on quality education, so kind of segregating our workforce so that they can focus more. And there's we can avoid duplication of efforts. So that's something we want to work on the Awareness 360 platform. And overall vision is obviously to ensure clean water and sanitation for all. I would like to see everyone has access to water, and not just access, but everyone having the proper knowledge and awareness to actually do this, so that I don't have to go out there and tell people to wash hands, so that it becomes part of their daily life. It becomes there's a behavioral change, not just knowledge. So that's something I really envision for the future.
Lovely. And how has the current situation affected your work? Have you started any new projects? And what is the plan after the situation is just passing by?
Yes. So we actually recruited a new cohort of members, but we planned to do an orientation and trainings for them. But unfortunately, we couldn't do any in-person projects or any event like that because of COVID. Right. Considering the safety of our members, so all of that is in halt. But however, we did a relief effort. So we collected funds to provide relief materials, so basic food and hygiene materials to sex workers. So we chose a sex workers community, a brothel in a city which is about 4 hours drive from the capital city. So we went there and we provided them 1 month worth of ration. So, and we aim to continue this effort, because honestly, whatever we do, it's not enough. And it's not just us, like there are so many other amazing organizations. All of us are trying our best, and we need to continue doing this, because the effect of COVID-19 is going to stay for a long while, and these people are not just afraid of, they're more afraid of hunger, compared to COVID. So people, if they don't have access to sanitation and hygiene and like a basic hand washing station, how can we expect them to wash their hands properly, right? So sometimes, so for example, when we went to that brothel to distribute the ration, we found it a huge challenge to actually maintain social distance between them because it's so congested. How can we even expect them to maintain all those precautions? So this is something we want to really amplify on this message after post-COVID. So for example, when we have any meetings with the government level or the decision makers, we want to emphasize on this fact how important this wash sector is, why they need to prioritize this wash sector, so that in future we don't have to face this kind of situation again. So yeah, that's pretty much what we are working on. And also we launched a Facebook Live series on our Facebook page, Awareness 360 Facebook Live series, where we are showcasing different young people from around the world who are hosting different skill-based and discussion-based sessions. So this is actually to keep our members busy throughout this lockdown.
Lovely. Are there any other issues that you would like to focus on other than water, hygiene and sanitation? Any other issues that you feel are equally important to be addressed?
I mean, honestly, all of the SDGs are extremely important, right? That's why they are the global goals, and we have a scope to work on all these SDGs in our country. But something that I very much think that is very critical right now to be addressed is climate change. So this is something that we would like to work on other than WASH, because it's like the biggest threat to the planet, to life, to biodiversity. So that's very, very important.
Right. And according to you, how can people work on water, hygiene and sanitation at their homes? How can they make sure they are taking care of themselves?
Right. So as you know, there's a saying that charity begins at home. So we have to start from our home. It's not like you have to go out there at the very beginning to teach people how to wash hands. First, check whether you yourself do it properly. Check whether your family members do it properly. Whether your caretaker, your driver, your maid are those people who don't have proper access to probably television channels or internet or things like that. Do they know? Are they following those measures? So teach them. And I mean, when there is Google, I mean, there is everything, really. Everything is at the tip of our hands. So, I mean, if anyone really wants to work on this wash sector, they can just Google it up. They can do a community mapping of and it's not like you have to do something on your own. There are so many existing organizations who are already working on these issues. So find which issue you care most about, then do a community mapping. Okay, I want to work on wash. Something is wrong in this space in my community. Then find out if there is an existing organization or any group of people who are already working on it. Join them, gain some experience. And if you see that no, there isn't anything like that, then start something on your own. You can start with a friend, for example. I started with my friend, right? So I think we really need to how do I put this in words? We really need to make the use of the existing resource that we have in hand. So I think that way we can all make change. We can all start small and we can all start now.
Great. Lovely. What are some words from your experience? What are some words of advice you would like to give to other people who are hoping to also get into social work and just encourage healthy habits amongst people?
So social media is a huge tool. It's a very important tool and a very powerful tool if we use it correctly. So I think most of us, the young people, for example, the viewers who are watching this live right now, I assume they have access to internet, right? So they can definitely start from the internet. They can educate themselves on the issues. It's not just about WASH, but any issue. What's going on around the world? Educate yourself. Then go to your family members. Then go to your friend circle, and that way you can then reach out to your community. So my advice would be, don't wait for somebody else to come and tell you. Don't just keep ranting, but actually take action. Actually do something about it. And there's a lot of ways to do things these days. So just pick something and start working on it, and don't give up.
Lovely. And last few questions for the day. For our Indian viewers, what can you tell us about Bangladesh and what you love about Bangladesh?
Oh, that's my favorite question so far. Yes, I definitely would like to invite all the Indian viewers to visit Bangladesh. Definitely, it's a beautiful country. We have the longest uninterrupted sea beach in the world. We have beautiful hill tracts towards the south of the country. We have the Sundarbans, which I'm sure you know of. And then I think the biggest asset, we have great food. The biggest asset of Bangladesh would be its people. So we are, in general, we're very welcoming towards tourists. So I really hope that more Indians visit Bangladesh, and I'm sure they will have a pleasant stay here.
I hope so too soon. And finally, before we end our session for today, how can our viewers and listeners get in touch with you and know more about your work and contribution?
So I'm very much available on social media. So this page, people can follow this page, Awareness 360, on Instagram. On Facebook, our page is Awareness 360. To be updated on our work. And personally, if anyone wants to reach out to me about any other platforms or any other things I'm associated with, they can reach out to my Instagram, which is Preva Shomy, PREVA space Shomy, SHOMY, and it's the same on Facebook. So I'm available both on Instagram and Facebook by Preva Shomy.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Shomy, for joining us and giving us your time.
Thank you. Thanks to Amit and the whole MKR team for having me. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure as well. Thank you for sharing all your insights. It was absolutely wonderful talking to you.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Take care and stay safe.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.